Welcome back, everyone, for a weekly look at technology. Not many companies can even lay claim to one anniversary. How about 45? 45 years. Well, that's Anise & Associates is celebrating their 45th anniversary. You weren't there at the beginning.
I was not.
But you are seriously responsible for the growth of this company.
Well, thank you.
Joining me is Ray Appy, who's president and CEO of Anise & Associates. And what we thought we would do today is just really talk about what's changed in 45 years.
A lot.
In technology, right?
Yeah, a lot.
We made a little list here with the help of Christina from your office. I just want to talk about a few items. Okay. Modems.
You remember those?
Yes.
Do you have any idea what that is?
That's exactly right.
Does anyone use a modem anymore?
No, they don't. They don't. So talk to me about just what you've seen, what you've experienced.
Sure. Well, actually, when I started with the company 16 years ago, modems and multiplexers were still out there. We were actually still selling them, and that's how we all got to the internet at that time. You had a modem from your computer. If you were in a company and you needed two offices connected or multiple offices connected, you'd use multiplexing, which is creating different virtual channels over a single wire, basically. So modems and multiplexers were an important part of the company's history. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm sure at one point, because you were so involved with communication and people connecting, what was the first time a light really went on and you realized that the world was shifting?
I think for me, starting with the company as an engineer, I came into this world of the end of the modems and multiplexer world, and I really witnessed firsthand, not the birth of the internet, but the explosion of it, So I entered the industry in sort of the latter part of the dot-com era, and I saw businesses, our customers and government institutions and education clients starting to use networking technology to run their business and have it be a core part of what they do, really. So I had fun watching it go from something interesting to an absolute utility requirement.
Yes, right, I bet you did. Some of the trigger things, MCI mail.
MCI mail, yeah, one of the first sort of cloud email platforms, if you will. Anise & Associates represented that product in the late 80s. And actually, one of our first live demos of the system was at a school district in Buffalo, and during the live demo an email came in about the Space Shuttle Challenger exploding. So that was like, in our own experience, and of course in that school district, the first real, oh my God, we're so connected to the outside world, aha moment.
Yes, right. We all remember where we were for that, of course. Vimo, the first voicemail, is that
Vemo.
accurate?
So when the concept of a public branch exchange or PBX phone systems had been around long before voicemail, but that was just connecting people over a phone system, connecting multiple phones in a company and maybe across multiple locations. But in the early days, there was no such thing as voicemail, right? There was, you used a piece of paper and there were memos, right?
Sure.
But when voicemail first became available as technology, it wasn't part of the PBX system. Later, it got coupled together and it all became part of one system. But initially, we were selling voicemail systems as an add-on to existing corporate phone systems. And that, of course, that had a great allure for people that were, like the concept of, gee, I can just leave this person a voice message. Wow, what a concept, and then they can get back to me later. Eureka.
My God, with the things we take for granted now. When
crazy.
You just mentioned paper before, one of the companies I worked for, on the bottom of every single thing was put it in writing.
Yeah.
With the whole
Press hard, 5 copies.
Exactly right. And you put, I forget what that was called, carbon paper.
Carbon paper,
I know I'm really dating myself here, but it isn't really that long ago.
It's not, no.
It's within the 45 years for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Now, just in terms of the history of Anise & Associates, Ray, it's really impressive. Frank Anise, founder, right?
Frank is our founder.
The Grand Poobah.
The Grand Poobah, yeah. He's a pretty dynamic character, and he's a lot of fun to be around. He was a fantastic businessman. Frank was a Notre Dame grad from the early 60s with a business degree, and he had it in mind that technology was a future to make a lot of money, and he was interested in starting a business on his own. But initially, he started working for larger companies as a sales rep, and he got moved around a lot. I think in 1 year, he actually moved his young family like 4 times, and after the 4th time, he's like, that's it, I'm done, I'm going to go into business. So he started a company called Anise & Gall. He had a partner. Eventually, he bought out Mr. Gall and became Anise & Associates, and then he hired his brother, right? And then he hired a friend, actually who was a customer, and then it just grew from there. And so you started to bring in family members and other people, and Anise & Associates grew and grew. But yeah, in 1970, he kicked it off, and he ran that company effectively until 2008.
Well, and when you say his young family, I don't know how young that was at that time, but now 4 daughters who are all in the company.
Yeah.
Now
It's interesting.
Including his wife, by the way.
That's right.
Shout out to her. Congratulations.
She works for me, but she's on the board and owner, so I work for her.
Yes, that's right. Well, before we went on air, Ray and I were talking. I grew up in a family business also, so you know there are no such thing as weekends.
No.
You know, everybody's always talking, and there's always something going on.
It's always on. It's always on.
Yeah, for sure. We had done a version of an episode of our show, Her Look, with all 4 of the Anise sisters, and it was just a remarkable show. We got off script in about 5 seconds in that show.
Never got back.
And then we never got back, and it was just very insightful. Very talented family, by the way.
Thank you.
I want to cite a couple of statistics about Anise and Associates. This will give you an idea of how they've grown, especially since 2008 when Ray took over. 120 employees, 8 offices throughout New York State. You broke $100 million in revenue in 2014. 3 times you were voted best company to work for. You're on the top 5,000 of the fastest growing companies in the U.S. and the largest woman-owned business in the Capital District. That's really pretty remarkable.
That's fun to look at all that in one snapshot like that. Thank you.
Hey, one last question.
Sure.
45 years behind you, 45 years to come. What do you see?
So what's next? I see continued growth. We've always been conservative in our growth pattern, never getting ahead of ourselves. We've always been reliant on ourselves. We don't take out loans. We don't extend ourselves financially. So it'll be paced, but we're going into an acquisition mode now. So we expect over the next few years to be buying companies and growing a little bit more aggressively in that regard, but still with a very conservative approach. So I see continued growth on the path that we're on, and I see just continued, from a technology perspective, growth into the cloud for us.
Right. Now, I wanted to ask you this also. In terms of technology, where do you see growth? I mean, not that you have a crystal ball, but you know this business.
Yeah, the data center, our data center practice and our cloud practice will be, those will be the explosive areas for us over the next 5+ years. Can't really see beyond that. This is technology. It changes every 5 minutes.
I know it
Making
does.
a 5-year statement is like, that's a big leap.
5 years from now, I'll play it back for you.
Yeah, it could be totally different, but
that's
what we're looking at right now.
I've got some sad news. This is the last in the series of Look at Technology with Anise and Associates, and I want to thank you, Christina, your marketing director, and the Anise girls.
Wow.
And for supporting this and providing us with just a real wealth of information. I got a lot of very strong responses from viewers on this. So
that's great. It's been fun for me too. Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much, Ray.
All right.
And he's on his way to Alaska.
Yeah, I had to grow a beard.
Yeah, to grow a beard to go to Alaska. Best of luck.
Thank you.
It's not very technologically savvy where you're going.
I know.
Okay.
That's how I get away from it all.
Yeah, that's right. All right, to see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.